Hi, welcome to Science to Get High By. I'm Kat Jones, and hey, meet the lab mice. That's right, we've got lab mice here. And I'm gonna confess that I did this whole video just so you could see how fucking cute these mice are. Don't worry, they are not gonna be subjected to inhumane, cruel, unethical, barbaric experiments. No, that's not a thing at Science to Get High By. We have a very ethical lab here, and we take great measures to avoid causing unnecessary harm and suffering to any of the organisms, otherwise known as living beings, that we study here at Science to Get High By. I know, what? You're probably used to researchers justifying terrible things done to mice, rats, and whoever else they get their hands on the grounds that they're mere animals. They're not like us. They don't feel pain the way we do. They don't think and feel the way we do. They're beyond our moral regard. Hey, well, you know what? That's bullshit. Unscientific fucking bullshit. In fact, federal legislation designed to protect animals in captivity specifically exempts mice, rats, and fish from animalhood. Now, how scientific is that? We're gonna burn that shit down in the next video. Or I hope it'll be the next video. Sometimes, sometimes I get high in the lab. So that one's coming up. I actually started taking all these portraits of the mice as part of that project. Specifically, we're going to be focusing on the now discredited concept of anthropomorphism. I don't mean to say that anthropomorphism in general doesn't mean anything. It's a word that means the attribution of human qualities, characteristics, motivations, and behavior to non-humans. So, you can use that word, you know what it means, but it's been used for centuries to discredit any kind of empathy or moral regard for non-human animals. And that's not just dubious ethical reasoning, it's also not science. There was this idea that reason, that intellect, that mind, soul, they talked a lot about soul, and emotions, these things are human qualities, and that when you attribute those to other animals, you're anthropomorphizing, and that's a sin here in the hard-ass world of science, little lady. Turns out, not only was that super fucking wrong, it was also not rational, it was not reasonable, it was not logical, and it was not science. So a lot of science got done by piercing and cutting into and bashing open other living beings, but the insistence that they couldn't feel it or that it didn't matter to do those things to them because thinking and feeling are human qualities and you can't go around attributing that to others, those things were wrong. Those things were not science. In the last 30 years or so, the notion that thoughts and feelings are human qualities has been completely discredited, not science. And we're going to talk about that in detail and at great length in an upcoming episode of Science to Get High By. And I will back it up with science. So join me for that episode. But for right now, check these guys out, right? Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Kat Jones, and this has been Science to Get High By. Speaking of ethics, for those of you who are interested, the lab mice were very ethically sourced. And you'd feel even better about the fact that they're living here in the lab with us if I told you where they came from, which I'm not going to do. because I don't snitch.